Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with round 10 of the Williams Road to Glory. Yes, we're back once more, ready for the Belgian Grand Prix. I can't believe now we're halfway through the season. Like I said in the last couple of videos, we're trying to build up a little bit of consistency once again with this series, sort of nicely interspersing it with the My Team series, of course, still the main focus on the channel. But as we head, though, to the Belgian Grand Prix this weekend, you can see we have still a lot of upgrades in the works. If you missed out on the last video from Hungary, I would definitely recommend going back and checking it out. We have got 2 aero upgrades and a powertrain one as well. That should hopefully be done ready for next time out at the Italian Grand Prix as well. There, championship-wise, currently it is still Bottas that leads the way, 10 points clear of his teammate Lewis Hamilton. A lot of teammate battles going on actually up and down the field there. Both Red Bulls separated by just 2 points there, and you got Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo battling it out with Charles Leclerc. We are currently P16 overall, the only driver still with just 1 point on the board at this stage of the year. And we're 3 points behind Antonio Giovinazzi. The team is 9th, 3 points behind Alfa Romeo as well. So I think we need a bit of a miracle if we want to try and get a couple of extra points on the board by the end of the year as well. But the Belgian Grand Prix should theoretically be quite a good track for us. Of course, a very power-orientated circuit in the real world of F1. George Russell got a podium here, kind of, last weekend as well. So, fingers crossed, things can go our way here today. Well, everyone, it's happening then. Last time around at the Hungaroring, we had a wet to dry race just like we saw in real life. This time around, it's something like it's going to be a wet qualifying session here from the Belgian Grand Prix, so fingers crossed George Russell can put it on the front row of the grid like he did in real life then. But for us, yeah, going to be a tough and testing session. Haven't done much running in the full wet in this Williams. There was wheel spin in 6th gear. Probably not helpful as we head down in towards turn 1 there. We do find the apex, so through the first corner. And find a nice bit of oversteer on the exit as well. Come on. I think this session is going to be about trying to put some laps in, but I did wonder whether it'd be dry enough for inters. It is raining rather heavily still. That is not the line through a Rouge, but we're getting away with it. See what you want about the wet weather package of real life, Williams. This thing is a handful. Trying to get the most out of it on a qualifying lap there as we head down Pouhon. Still not even at full throttle in 7th gear, because I'm just worried about what the back end will try and do there as we head down towards the bottom of the hill through the Fagnes chicane. Lap hasn't felt too shabby though, but this is going to be one of those ones where we either end up right on the money or 4 seconds off the pace. Well, Hamilton's just done a 53.6, so I wonder if the track is getting slightly quicker at this early stage of the session. There, huge amount of understeer out of the final corner. So we head up towards the line. So 58, well, we're way off, like I thought we might be. But let's see if we can find some time on this second run then. Got nice and easy on the throttle out of turn 1. And that's an easy 4/10 of a second before we even get in towards Eau Rouge. Yeah, love to see it. Haven't found as much time as I would have liked to on this second run, but we're still about 3/4 of a second up as we head through Blanchimont. Still just a feather off the throttle as we head through there, but in towards the final chicane. Should be a lot more time to find here. Oh, big kick of oversteer on the way in. Try and keep it between the white lines on the way out. I know we've lost a handful of time out the final corner there, and we're still last at the moment. And as we get ready to head back out there right towards the end of the session, you can see it's basically stopped raining here, so I wonder if this is going to be one of those sessions where being pretty much the last car on a lap is going to be absolutely critical here. We're going to start our final lap with about 15 seconds left on the clock, but everyone else is improving at this stage of the session, so we're going to get one chance to make it count here at the Belgian Grand Prix. Already so much easier to put the power down at the first couple of corners there, finding another 1/4 of a second. But yeah, this lap we need to find a lot of time if we want to try and improve there. Clock has got to 0, so we are going to have to complete this run there as we get a nice tidy run up through Eau Rouge and Radion. Up the Kemmel Straight, half a second up already, but we're going to need a good couple of seconds on this lap. We're going to try and move ourselves up the order a bit more, breaking down in towards the chicane at Lecombe. Try and just get the car rotated over down the hill. Using all the curb on the exit there, still finding time absolutely everywhere though. Down in towards, I think this is this Bruxelles? I think it's Bruxelles, and obviously down into No Name for the next one. just trying to keep it nice and tidy at the moment there as we get a really good run out of no lane. They're down in towards Puon. Just nudging the curb on the way in there. Try to avoid the curbs on the exit and then get out the power as early as possible. They're 2.2 up at this stage of the lap there, but down in towards the final sector of the lap still. Just trying to attack the curbs nicely wherever we can there, using up all the track width as well. We made a bit of a mistake on our last lap through here, and again we ran just all over the curbing on the exit, half throttle as we head out of Savolo though, 3.5 seconds up as we head in towards the final couple of corners of the lap there. We've got yellow flags out, someone's got issues up the road. I don't really want to lift unless we have to here. So we head through the final couple of corners. We've got 2 cars on the racing line. What's going on here? We've hit debris! Oh no! We were 4 seconds up on the lap there and someone else has binned it. We've ran over the debris and got front wing damage there. I mean, 4 seconds up. Oh god, what are we doing? Sorry. Don't want a penalty, don't want a penalty, don't want a penalty. We can't do anything. 4 seconds up, we might have just been sort of ahead of Giovinazzi and our teammate George Russell there. But, I mean, what a dramatic way to end qualifying here from the Belgian Grand Prix. We can't even get back to the pits. We're stuck. And we've been disqualified.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top 3. Bottas, Ricciardo and Lewis Hamilton. Goodbye for now then, but we're really just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
Well, drama at the end of qualifying for the Belgian Grand Prix there, and looking at it, Valtteri Bottas on the pole, ready for the Grand Prix there. McLaren as well, separating him and Lewis Hamilton there with Daniel Ricciardo in P2, and then you got Red Bulls on row 3. However, if we'd found that bit more time, as Russell's got a penalty, no idea what he's done, I reckon we would have been around the Alpines, maybe Carlos Sainz level at the end of qualifying there. Say we were 4 seconds up, there was another half a second to find in the final few sectors, final couple of corners of the lap as well there. Yeah, I reckon we could have been right with the Alpines at the end of qualifying. But no, Williams will be starting from the back of the grid, ready for the race here today. Raikkonen up in 10th there. We've got to really hope Alfa Romeo don't have the pace to score points this weekend. Let's dive in to the Belgian Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to the Belgian Grand Prix, the race that gave us the maiden victory for the Jordan team in 1998. And in the same team, the phenomenal debut of a young Michael Schumacher. There's always something special around one of the many corners of this fan-favourite circuit. Spa-Francorchamps then, a 4.35-mile tour of the Ardennes countryside, with 9 right corners and 10 left corners, giving us a grand total of 19. Average lap speeds in the dry can reach about 145 miles per hour, but without a significant improvement in these conditions, we won't be seeing anything like that today. Joining me on this very wet day is a man who's no stranger to driving in miserable conditions. Anthony Davidson, you've driven open cockpit, you've driven sports cars. How does the wet weather experience change between the different disciplines?
Well, I wouldn't say there's much difference in all honesty. You know, besides the terrifying closing speeds you find in sports cars with the different categories all sharing the same track, driving in the rain is, well, driving in the rain. Of course, the biggest difference between the two is the closed cockpit versus the open cockpit. You get the luxury of staying dry in the sports car, but if your screen ever gets dirty, well, that's a pit stop, not just wiping your visor or pulling away a tear off. But most of the time, you know, they're both as miserable as each other, to be honest.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and P2 goes to Daniel Ricciardo, a strong showing from the Australian. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Norris, Max Verstappen and Perez, Leclerc, Stroll, Gasly and Kimi Raikkonen, Ocon, Fernando Alonso, Yuki Tsunoda and Mick Schumacher, Giovinazzi, Vettel, Nikita Mazepin and Mr. Monaco, Sainz and George Russell ends our grid lineup. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
Right, well here we are then, on the grid, ready for the Belgian Grand Prix, round 10 of the year here, and despite getting disqualified, we've somehow been able to find ourselves on P18 there, and weirdly enough, it's raining, but the game reckon it's dry enough for dries, so we'll wait and see as to how this one goes here today. I think the plan of action probably ought to be softs for the first couple of laps during the wet period, mediums, and then another set of softs at the end there if it's meant to get damp again right towards the end of the Grand Prix. But I'm expecting this one to be a little bit carnage-filled here today in Belgium. We've got a tricky weekend ahead of us, but let's just get our head down. And really, I think tricky weekends are our best shot of points at this stage of the year. Then waiting on the grid for the 5 red lights for the Belgian Grand Prix. And it's the lights out, and away we go. Car gripping up surprisingly well, actually. So we head down towards turn 1. Oh, everyone not too sure where to brake in towards that first corner there. So we'll try and pounce around the outside, or we'll get tagged by Sebastian Vettel there. Not too sure what that was. Why is that a warning for us? As we head down the hill for the first time in this Grand Prix, side by side with Mazepin, the last person I want to be side by side with, down in towards Rouge there. Back end tried to kick out on the exit, but we have held on to our grid position there. Russell's up 1 ahead of Carlos Sainz here. But are we going to be able to get a run down the Kemmel straight on lap 1, or are we going to see more carnage unfold from the guys in front there as Gio and Mick Schumacher go side by side at the end of the Kemmel straight there through Lecombe? As we head now down the hill though, really got to try and get used to these tricky conditions early on. Can we have a look around the outside of Mazepin? Yes, we can. Just a tiny bit of contact there with Seb, but I think we got away with that one with a bit of luck. You guys clearly are aware we're running sim damage based on qualifying. I know I sometimes get questioned about it. Just rather inconsistent at times on F1 2021. But yeah, we've had a good start though. Up at least 1 place ahead of Nikita Mazepin. Now we've got to get our head down. Closing up on Sebastian Vettel as we head up in towards Blanchemont here. Still on lap 1 of this Grand Prix. Are we going to be closer to have a bit of a send? We seem to be very, very confident on the brakes early on here. And that is us now up at a P16 of the Belgian Grand Prix, as Seb's actually dived it in, so I'm guessing he got front wing damage there off the start. That might be why we got a warning, but I don't think there was a lot we could have done in through turn 1. But yeah, up 4 places then. Sebastian Vettel in the pits. Weird, it's still raining, but we get DRS in this Grand Prix on Mick Schumacher just in front of us.
On track, but officials aren't looking to push for a safety car right now. Just be careful.
Not too sure what that's about, but yeah, fingers crossed we can try and get around Mick Schumacher. Ooh, sooner rather than later here. Definitely feel like we're good in these conditions though. Early stage of this Grand Prix requires so much concentration, I can't lie to you guys, but fingers crossed we're closing in on Mick Schumacher as we head towards the end of lap 3. Going to gain a lot under braking. But can we try and look for a move sooner rather than later here? Don't really want to get stuck behind cars for too long. Haven't really got any excuse to when we seem to be this confident.
Pit window. You'll be on the mediums. We're leading our teammate by 2.2 seconds.
Heading now onto the Kemmel straight once more, though. We've got the DRS once more on Mick Schumacher, and he has no DRS to defend himself with, this time to the outside of the young German.
Gap to car in front is 2.0 seconds.
Just so I got it slowed down there. And we're now up at a P15. So making good gains early on, but still a long way to go there, as I think Kimi Räikkönen is still sat right near the points. Now the track has pretty much dried out. I fear, unfortunately, all that extra pace we sort of had saved up is starting to slip away from us, and the raw pace of the cars coming into their own once more here. Giovinazzi, we're not really losing anything to him at the moment, but I would rather be closing in the gap a little bit more there. Just take a lot of curb through the final chicane. Sainz now making moves as well, as yeah, I do think car performance is coming into it. Team want to see at the end of this one. The question now is surely about when that rain will arrive towards the end, if it arrives towards the end. Well, all the AI looking to be trying to stay out for an extra lap here, apart from Charles Leclerc diving it into the pit lane. I'm wondering, yeah, whether a move onto the one stop is probably ideal here today, because I just don't have much faith that we'll be able to hang on and potentially make some places here. It's sort of that we've got none to lose and everything to gain if we don't make the extra stop.
3.2 seconds.
George Russell still falling away behind us as the warning light has come on the engine. What part is that? Let's have a look. It is the control electronics, so we've got to avoid the curves a bit more, but we should make it through this weekend with no issues. We've got yellow flags out. I think that's Hamilton And like we've seen so many times before on this game, has he binned it through Puon? And on board then with Lewis Hamilton, just tips it in. And yeah, he's done it in so many series now. The My Team Career Mode, the last to first video we did here as well, Hamilton and Puon are just not a mix on this game. As we head through Puon ourselves, are we going to be able to get ahead of the Mercedes man there? He's held up Antonio Giovinazzi, an absolute treat for us. As what are these two doing? As we head down in through Sector 2. Whatever's happening with there, we're certainly gaining in on the pair of them, as Giovinazzi not wanting to back out of this. He felt like he was unfairly blocked by Hamilton's rejoin, but now has to concede position there as Hamilton. He needed a big weekend here to try and take the lead of the Drivers' World Championship, and Bottas clear out front. Hamilton struggling. I think, Hamilton into the pits there. Giovinazzi just has to give us room on the exit of the corner here. There's a lot more cars actually into the pit lane as we cross over 1/3 race distance. It's a drag race between myself and the Italian. Back down towards turn 1 here. It's a great little battle as Verstappen has come out ahead of us. Gio holds on to the position for now though, but surely we can get a big run out onto the Kemmel Straight. Almost into the back of Giovinazzi as we head through Rouge and Radion there. Take a lot of curb on the exit. We're going to be side by side before we even get out onto the back straightaway here with the Italian. And down around the outside we go there as we head towards the end of the Kemmel straightaway here. But Gio not giving up once more. We go deep, deep, deep on the brakes there and somehow we hold on. And now we're into P8 of the Belgian Grand Prix. Definitely have to box in them at the end of this lap though. These mediums are absolutely destroyed. Oh, sorry, these soft tyres. But 14 laps on mediums doesn't seem too impossible to do in this Grand Prix. It's just a case of seeing what everyone else is doing later on here in Spa. As we head down in through the final couple of corners. Surely Gio is in as well. Don't do a Kimi Räikkönen, Matt. Big lock up on the way in there. But we do just about get it slowed down nice and tidily. And yeah, myself and the Alfa Romeo have made some good progress early on here. Pierre Gasly still out there though. Ocon into the pits as well as Yuki Tsunoda. So yeah, at the moment we're in a decent little position in this Grand Prix as long as we stay out ahead of Antonio.
Go, go, go.
And that's a good little stop as well. There's a lot of these guys on another set of stops, so they are definitely trying to one-stop this. A two-stop even. We are still trying to one-stop here today. So we've stayed out ahead of Gio, and we've even stayed out ahead of Schumacher as well, who's on a set of softs himself. Sebastian Vettel in for his second stop of the day. Has not been a day to remember for Seb so far. But still, obviously, at any point a safety car could come out, and Sebastian Vettel could be thrown right back into the mix. Oh, Kimi Räikkönen out of the Grand Prix. What's happened to the fin? Has that been an engine failure, or has he binned it? So riding on board then with Fernando Alonso as he came up through a Rouge. Kimi Räikkönen there with a catastrophic engine failure, showered the Alpine with smoke. But Kimi out from what was looking like quite a decent race here from Spa. Now we're under pressure from his teammate Antonio Giovinazzi. We've got more yellow flags out. I think that's Lando Norris pulling to the wayside here as Giovinazzi tries to get down the inside of us. We'll try and hang it around the outside there. Gio almost bottles it. Lando Norris out there as well. That was a bit aggressive. Trying to hang Giovinazzi out to dry in that situation. But so many mistakes and engine failures coming in at one of the most power-hungry tracks on the Formula 1 calendar here. But Lando Norris, it's broken once again. I think we're going to start seeing a lot of guys into the pits again not too long in this race. The gap between Giovinazzi and myself starting just to open up just a little bit again. I think his tyres, yeah, have reached the end of their better than our life. There we go, first couple of guys into the pits as well, so this is where we need to try and get ourselves back into the top 10. There is a slim chance we could still score points here, but we're going to need to be really fast and consistent right the way through to the end of this Grand Prix.
You'll be on the softs.
And we're still way behind Charles Leclerc at the moment, which doesn't bode well. Load more cars into the pits at the end of lap 14. Now 8 to go here from Spa-Francorchamps. That doesn't sound like many laps, but around the longest track on the calendar, it is still a fair old way. As Giovinazzi still very, very close behind us. Where are we going to re-emerge though in this Grand Prix? That is going to be the real question as we get way too much curb out of the final, at the first corner even. We're only up into 10th at the moment. Oh, this doesn't bode well for us. Giovinazzi has got past Lance Stroll just behind. So that is not the line through our Rouge and Radion. But yeah, we haven't made as much progress as I thought we would at the moment. And we've still got Giovinazzi trying to apply the pressure as we head down the Kemmel Straight once more there. Here comes Lance Stroll as well. I think we're going to be safe enough this time.
1.8 seconds.
I was a bit worried Stroll might try and dive Geo there and take us out, but we got away with it. See most of our remaining pitters into the box at the end of this one, so we'll see how many places we can afford to lose by the end of the Grand Prix there as we head out through the final couple of turns. We've got an AlphaTauri and an Alpine in. It is Yuki Tsunoda.
The best in lap you can.
Not too sure which Alpine it was as well there, but yeah, we are right ahead. I think it's Alonso. So now we can afford to lose 2 places between now and the end of the Grand Prix. But we've only got 2.5 seconds to Fernando behind us. I think Stroll's going to be around us this time round though, as we head up the Camel Straight once more.
Expect the grip levels to start falling away soon.
That's not what we want to hear at this stage of the Grand Prix, but here comes Lance Stroll, a mighty fast Canadian in that Aston Martin, and yeah, nothing we can do about it that time round. We'll slot back in, and we'll keep our head down. Oh, Sebastian Vettel, I said about how he might be able to try and get himself back up towards the points in this Grand Prix. Seems to be making mighty fast progress at the moment. Now up into 11th again, so he might be the man we battle out with late on in this Grand Prix, but in the ideal world, him and Esteban Ocon here will continue to battle each other and allow us to stay safe up in P10 there. I'm basing that on the fact that Alonso is probably going to go around us by the end of this Grand Prix. But yeah, 5.5 to go here from Spa. Can we do the impossible? That's good to know then. I don't think the rain is going to arrive by the end of this Grand Prix. But Sebastian Vettel now 4 seconds behind us as Alonso now right behind us as we head down in towards Eau Rouge here on lap 18. Not going to try and fight the Spaniard too much as we just try and get through Eau Rouge once again. The back end just grinding out ever so slightly. And Alonso, yeah, we'll give him the racing line. Nothing we can do against the Alpine. All we can hope for is we can hang on inside the DRS. Have kept hold of the DRS there out of the final corner, which is good to see. We'll be able to hold on to it though as we head down through Eau Rouge and Raidillon here. It's just about trying to give ourselves those extra 3/10 of defence to the guys behind. Gap goes up to 1.2 as we try to put the power down. It's going to come down, but I don't think it's going to be enough there. 1.1 as we went through the detection point, so we're not going to have any more DRS off Fernando Alonso in this Grand Prix, but the gap to Seb behind still 3.2. So fingers crossed as we actually now get the gap well under a second again on Fernando Alonso. But just trying to manage, so we've got ERS to the end to defend with. 2 laps to go then from the Belgian Grand Prix, and these tyres are absolutely shredded now, up to 60% wear in this Grand Prix. But I think the key is we try and keep Sebastian Vettel out of the DRS window for just one more lap.
It is 3.0 seconds.
3.0 now to Alonso behind us, but the tyre warning lights come on, the engine warning light has gone red, as I think the control electronics, yeah, 72% there. But we have just about kept Seb out of that window for another lap, which is exactly what we needed to do. We've got 2 more to go. Can we get our 2nd points of the year? Oh, we got yellow flags out. I think Hamilton's gone round again.
They have some kind of mechanical problem.
Stroll's got mechanical issues with 2 laps to go here, but Hamilton's binned it again through Pouon. Genuinely, I think that's 6 times in 3 races he's done that. In towards the final lap then of the Belgian Grand Prix, and Sebastian Vettel, after contact with ourselves down at turn 1, has been on a fight back all day long here as we head into the final lap of this Grand Prix. Can we do enough to try and defend from Sebastian? He's going to be mighty close down through Raidillon, or through La Source there as I run wide. Through the source there, that's going to cost us, but it is on the other hand going to give us the DRS up the back straightaway, so I'm not too worried about making that small mistake there as long as we can get a run on Sebastian there, take a lot of curb out through Eau Rouge, but this might have worked for us. Get the DRS there on Sebastian Vettel, gives us a big old squeeze, but we do get back around the outside, and that might be enough to defend ourselves right the way through.
Good job, nice overtake.
To the end of the lap there. I was thinking if he got close enough out of turn 1, I'd do the Hamilton-Alonso thing from Canada all those years ago to try and get the DRS on him, but I wasn't expecting to lock up an understeer through the first corner there. Carlos Sainz is closing in on us at a rapid rate of knots as well, but we've just got to try and hang on for one more lap here against Sebastian.
In just over 10 minutes time. Rain in 10 minutes.
Valtteri Bottas wins the Grand Prix, but it's always at a Pouon. The AI are really OP here, so we're going to save ourselves a bit of battery to try and defend from Sebastian Vettel here. You can see Sainz, though, now definitely a part of this gaggle of cars, but all we need to do is focus on the run out of Stavolo, and fingers crossed that'll be enough as we try not to get any wheel spin. No dramatics here, just a small lift as we feather on the throttle there, activate the ERS, which will use the rest of the battery as we head up in towards launch one here. But so is Sebastian Vettel and Carlos Sainz there. I think Seb might just use a bit too much though as we head in towards the final couple of corners of the Belgian Grand Prix here. I don't think I've worked so hard for a single point on F1 2021. We have hang on with the tyres there, and out of the final corner, it's going to be P10 and more points on the board.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Many doubted whether they could pull off the win here at Spa-Francorchamps, but they've done so in spectacular style. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it. Let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. More points for Valtteri Bottas, further solidifying his lead at the top of the table. Now, let's discuss, Ant, who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. They fought so hard and had incredible pace at times, so I don't think anyone else did a better job today.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for the next one.
Well, there we are then, guys, the end of the Belgian Grand Prix there. And like I said, I genuinely don't think I've worked that hard for a single point on F1 2020, F1 2021 so far even, sorry, I should say there. But Valtteri Bottas does win the Belgian Grand Prix ahead of Daniel Ricciardo there, just 0.3 of a second separating the duo at the end of a hard-fought race there. Verstappen and Perez capitalised on Hamilton's mistakes and Lando Norris's engine failure from 5th and 6th on the grid to 3rd and 4th come the end of the race, and Charles Leclerc as well moving up 2 spots just behind him there. Hamilton, with all his issues, did end up finishing P6 there with fastest lap, gives him 9 points there, but still a 16-point loss to his teammate. With Gasly, Stroll, Alonso and ourselves rounding out your top 10 at the end of the Grand Prix there. Just 2/10 ahead of Sebastian Vettel, who was a further 4/10 ahead of Carlos Sainz. You can see the rest of your finishes there. George Russell, 16th to 20th to 16th even, I should say, at the end of the day. A good drive from him, but we were the only car to make the one-stop work at the end of the day there. Championship-wise, further down the order, Daniel Ricciardo gets the jump on Leclerc and Lando Norris. Stroll and Gasly both get past Carlos Sainz as well, who was constantly unlucky with reliability on F1 2021. We cut the gap down to Giovinazzi just to 2 points now, so it only requires a 9th place or a 10th with fastest lap for us to try and get the jump on Antonio there. And constructors-wise, no movement so far. A lot of teams pretty solidified at the moment, but again, one big result could be enough to give us P8 in the Constructors' Championship as well there. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, do make sure you leave a like. Get yourself subscribed as well. And yeah, we'll be back very, very soon with round 11 of the Williams Road to Glory. We head to Zandvoort. That's going to be a tough one. A massive thank you for the continued support from all our channel members. If you want to be featured in these end clips, make sure you click the join button down below. But yeah, once again, a massive thank you to the Travesty, Patrick, Chuan, David, Ben, Aiden, F. Stathios, Cato, Sean, Johnny, McBlam, and Mighty Spork for becoming channel members. The support is really, really appreciated.